Have you ever felt like you're memorizing endless lists of vocabulary, but then when you actually listen to native English speakers, it feels like they're speaking an entirely different language? Well, today we're going to fix exactly that, and we're doing it by focusing on just one single word. It's a word so adaptable, so incredibly flexible, that I like to call it the chameleon verb. In this explainer, we're diving into how mastering this one common word and all its brilliant little disguises can completely transform your spoken English from sounding, a bit textbook stiff to completely natural and fluent. Let's get into it.
So I want you to really think about it for a second. What does the word turn actually mean? For most of us, when we first start learning English, we just associate it with a simple physical action, right? You picture someone driving and rotating a steering wheel, or maybe walking down the street and changing direction at the corner. But here's the thing. If you assume that is all this word does, you are missing out on an entire universe of meaning. We really need to challenge that basic assumption right now.
The absolute crucial point here is understanding the contrast between its literal meaning and its phrasal form. Yes, literally, it means to change direction. We all know that. But the secret superpower of this word unlocks when we use it as a phrasal verb, by just pairing turn with a tiny preposition. Words like on, off, up, or down, it completely sheds its literal skin. Suddenly it means starting a machine, stopping an engine, changing a situation, or even refusing an offer. Honestly, these little phrases are the absolute lifeblood of real, everyday spoken English. To make this super easy to digest, we've organized this explainer into a few clear, logical buckets: everyday devices and volume control, transformations, directions and positions, human interactions, and finally, unlocking natural English. All right, let's jump straight into section 1, devices and volume control. These are your everyday bread and butter uses. This is literally the foundation of interacting with modern technology. Turn on simply means to start a machine or device. Think about it. Turn on the TV, please. You're basically bringing it to life. We contrast this directly with turn off, which means to stop a machine or device. Don't forget to turn off the lights. Native speakers use these phrases dozens of times a single day. Nobody really says activate the TV or deactivate the lights, right? You just turn them on or turn them off.
Okay, keeping with the whole device theme, let's talk about volume. If your TV is already on, you might need to adjust it. We use turn up when we want to increase the volume, like, can you turn up the music? And conversely, turn down means to decrease it. Turn down the noise, please. The root verb makes total sense here, if you picture the mechanics of it. You are literally turning a physical dial up or down to change the output.
But wait, here is where it gets really fascinating. There is a completely hidden secondary set of meanings for those exact same two phrases. Turn up doesn't just mean making things louder. It also means to appear unexpectedly, as in, he turned up late to the meeting. You aren't adjusting his volume. The guy just suddenly arrived out of nowhere. And turn down also means to refuse. She turned down the job offer. She didn't lower the volume of the offer. She just flat out said no to it. This is exactly why context is absolutely everything in English. Moving right along to section 2, transformations and unexpected results. Let's see how this word handles conceptual changes. This next phrase is so visual and brilliant. The caterpillar turned into a butterfly. It's a perfect example because turn into means to become something completely different. It has absolutely nothing to do with changing direction. It is a fundamental, ground-up transformation from one state of being to another. Then we have turn out. I love this phrase because it always carries a little bit of suspense or a revelation. It means to result or to be discovered. Listen to this. The movie turned out to be great. When you say that, you're implying that at first you really weren't sure. Maybe the trailer was awful, or you were just dragging your feet to the theater. But the final result, the big discovery, was positive. It turned out great. Okay, bucket number 3, directions and changing positions. We're playing off the literal definition here, but with some awesome twists. First up, turn back, which means returning in the opposite direction. A super practical example, we had to turn back because of the rain. Next is turn around. Literally, changing direction, like she turned around and smiled. But figuratively, it means to improve something dramatically. The company turned around its situation. It went from failing to totally succeeding. Finally, turn over, meaning to flip or change position. Think of a book. Turn over the page and keep reading. It's amazing how throwing back, around, or over into the mix completely dictates the flow of the action. Now for my favorite part, section 4, human interactions. Let's see how this verb dictates our behavior.
Just feel the drama in this sentence for a second. The crowd turned against the speaker. We're looking at turn against. This means to change your attitude to a hostile or negative one. The audience wasn't always angry, but a major shift happened. They became the opposition. It so perfectly captures how quickly human loyalties and opinions can just pivot.
Next up is turn in, and this one is a bit of a mind bender because of its dual nature. In one setting, it means to submit something officially. I need to turn in my homework, or I am turning in my quarterly report. But in a totally different context, it just means going to bed. I'm exhausted, I'm going to turn in early tonight. You are essentially submitting yourself to sleep. Two vastly different human actions, but governed by the exact same words.
Then we have turn to. This is such a vital, everyday phrase for expressing vulnerability and seeking help. It means to ask for assistance or begin doing something. Our example here, she turned to our friend for advice. When you're lost, confused, or just need a solid sounding board, who do you turn to? It beautifully implies shifting your life's focus entirely onto someone else for guidance.
All right, let's do a super quick memory check just to lock these interaction verbs in. We learned 3 key movements for humans. Turning against someone, which is that negative attitude shift. Turning in, meaning you're either submitting your work or you're just going to sleep. And turning to someone, which means actively asking for their help.
And that brings us to our final section, unlocking natural spoken English. Let's bring this all together.
This source material leaves us with a crystal clear, actionable pathway here. Step 1, learn the phrases. Well, we just did that by breaking them down into those nice, logical buckets. Step 2 is where the magic happens. Practice with examples. Don't just memorize dictionary definitions, memorize the context. Picture that caterpillar turning into a butterfly. And finally, step 3, by doing those first 2, you are naturally going to start speaking more fluent English in real-life situations. You'll stop mentally translating clunky, formal verbs, and you'll just start using the dynamic, punchy phrases that native speakers use every single day.
So, I want to leave you with one final provocative question. Which meaning of turn are you going to use today to make your English sound completely natural? Are you going to turn up the music, turn down a bad offer, or maybe turn to a friend? The power to completely transform your fluency is literally packed into that one little word. So get out there and start using it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in this explainer, and as always, keep learning.